Hello, Army. Tonight wasn't supposed to turn into chaos. It was just another live until Taehyung said a few words that no one saw coming. Within seconds, the atmosphere shifted. The chat exploded. Screenshots started spreading. And before anyone could process what just happened, all eyes turned to Jungkook. You could see it. That split second of silence, the expression, the pause, the moment that felt heavier than anyone expected. Army around the world started asking the same question. Did he just react to that? What really happened in that live? What did Taehyung mean? And why did Jungkook's reaction make this moment go viral in minutes? Stay with us because this story is much deeper than it looks. The silence didn't last long. First, it was just confusion. Fans replayed the clip again and again, trying to decode every syllable Taehyung had just spoken. It wasn't loud. It wasn't aggressive, but it was honest, almost too honest. The kind of honesty that slips out before you realize millions of people are listening. And that's when everything shifted. Jungkook didn't interrupt. He didn't laugh it off. He didn't immediately respond. He just looked still, not frozen but calculating, processing. His eyes moved slightly. His jaw tightened for a fraction of a second. It was subtle, but in moments like this, subtlety is louder than shouting. The chat began moving faster than anyone could read. Some fans defended Taehyung instantly, saying his words were being misunderstood. Others claimed it revealed something deeper, something that had been building quietly behind the scenes. The division wasn't explosive at first. It was tense, controlled like a storm forming offshore. Then Jungkook finally spoke, not directly about what Taehyung said, not clearly, but enough to make people lean forward. His tone was calm, almost too calm, the kind of calm that feels intentional. He chose his words carefully, almost as if each sentence had to pass through an invisible filter before reaching the audience. He said that misunderstandings happen, that people don't always know the full story, that sometimes emotions come out differently than intended, that it sounded neutral, but neutrality in moments like this feels like a statement. Taehyung listened. His expression didn't collapse. He didn't look defensive. Instead, he looked thoughtful, as if he knew this moment would follow him long after the live ended. He added a brief clarification, softer now, less sharp than before, saying he never meant to create tension. Yet the tension was already there. Clips spread within minutes. Edited versions appeared. Slowed down reactions, zoomed-in expressions, side-by-side comparisons of past interactions. Every micro-expression became evidence. Every pause became a theory. Was there hidden frustration? Was this an inside joke taken too far? Or was it something more personal, something we were never supposed to witness? What made the situation heavier wasn't anger. It was ambiguity. There was no dramatic argument, no raised voices, no clear conflict. And that's exactly why it felt so real. Raw emotions rarely explode on camera. They slip out quietly. They hide behind smiles. They show up in pauses. And fans felt that pause. For years, Jungkook and Taehyung have shared a dynamic that people describe as unbreakable, playful, deep, complex in a way that only long history can create. That's why this moment hit differently. It wasn't about one sentence. It was about what that sentence might represent. As the live continued, they tried to steer the conversation elsewhere. They laughed. They answered unrelated questions, but something invisible lingered. The energy had changed. Not dramatically, but undeniably. Then came the final exchange at a glance. Not long, not exaggerated, just a quick look between them, the kind that says more than dialogue ever could. It wasn't hostile. It wasn't warm either. It was layered, complicated, and then the broadcast ended. No resolution, no clear explanation, just a cut to black. Since then, speculation hasn't slowed. Some believe it was blown out of proportion, that fans projected tension where none existed. Others are convinced this was the first visible crack in something carefully maintained. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. We only saw a fragment. A few seconds inside a much longer story. A relationship shaped by years of shared stages, shared pressure, shared silence. Whatever Taehyung meant, whatever Jungkook felt, the full weight of it exists beyond a single live. And maybe that's why this moment refuses to fade, because it didn't give us answers. It gave us a question. What really lies beneath the calm? The days that followed didn't calm anything down. If anything, the silence made it louder. Neither of them addressed the moment directly. No clarification post, no subtle comment to clear the air. Just normal updates, photos, music-related content, brief interactions as if nothing had happened. And that normality felt intentional because when something truly means nothing, people tend to dismiss it quickly. But this didn't disappear. Fans began dissecting older interviews, older live streams, older backstage clips, not to create drama, but to search for patterns. Had there been signs, a shift in tone, a different energy lately? Every past interaction suddenly carried new weight, and the more people searched, the more divided the interpretations became. Some said the bond between them was too strong to be shaken by a single sentence. They pointed to years of shared memories, trainee days, global stages, moments of vulnerability caught on camera. You don't erase that history with one misunderstood phrase. Others argued that long history can also mean unspoken pressure. Growing up under the same spotlight, evolving as individuals while the world watches every move, that kind of environment changes people slowly, quietly. But here's what made this situation different. There was no villain. Taehyung didn't attack anyone. Jungkook didn't retaliate. There was no public conflict. Just emotion, raw, imperfect human emotion that slipped through for a second. And maybe that's why it felt so real. Behind the scenes, schedules continued. Rehearsals, meetings, creative projects. The machine doesn't stop for speculation. Professionals know how to separate personal feelings from public performance. But fans notice energy. At the next appearance together, every glance was magnified. Every smile analyzed when they stood side by side. People searched their body language like it was coded language. Were they standing closer or slightly apart? Did Jungkook initiate conversation or wait? Did Taehyung's laughter feel natural or measured? The truth is, when millions of eyes are watching, even the most ordinary interaction can look extraordinary. And yet, something subtle began to shift. Instead of tension escalating, there were small, almost invisible gestures, a brief shoulder bump, a quiet comment that made the other laugh unexpectedly. Not dramatic, not performative, just familiar. The kind of familiarity that doesn't disappear overnight. But here's the twist no one anticipated. The real conversation might not have happened on camera at all. What we witnessed could have been the surface of something already resolved privately. Or maybe it was the beginning of a deeper discussion between them, one that didn't need public validation. Because not every relationship is meant to be understood by outsiders. And that's the uncomfortable part for fans. We crave clarity. We want confirmation that everything is fine or a clear explanation if it's not. But sometimes the most honest answer is silence, not cold silence. Protective silence. Protecting friendship, protecting growth, protecting moments that don't belong to the public. As speculation slowly transformed into reflection, a bigger question emerged. Why did this moment affect people so deeply? Maybe it's because fans don't just watch performances. They connect to dynamics, to chemistry, to the idea of two people growing up together in front of the world. When even a slight shift appears, it feels personal. But growth is uncomfortable. And sometimes growth looks like distance before it looks like balance. The controversy that exploded in seconds began fading not because it was resolved publicly, but because something else replaced it. Perspective, a single sentence sparked chaos. Did a single pause trigger debate? But years of shared history can't be erased by a few seconds of uncertainty. Still, one detail lingers. During a later moment, brief, almost forgettable, Jungkook said something subtle while talking about teamwork and understanding. He didn't mention names. He didn't reference the incident, but his words carried weight. People don't always see the full picture. It wasn't defensive. It wasn't emotional. It was steady. And maybe that was the real answer. Not confirmation of conflict, not proof of perfection, but acknowledgement that what the world sees is only a fraction. As always, was that live a crack in the foundation? Or was it simply a reminder that even the strongest bonds are human? We may never know what was truly felt in that moment. We may never hear the full conversation that happened off camera, but one thing is certain. The silence between those words, the pause that stopped millions in their tracks, revealed something far more powerful than drama. It revealed vulnerability, and vulnerability, when seen by the world, will always feel controversial. The question now isn't what happened. The question is what happens next. Time passed, but the memory of that moment refused to dissolve. Not because it was explosive, not because it was confirmed drama, but because it exposed something rare: unpredictability. For years, fans have watched them move like rhythm, effortless, balanced, almost telepathic at times. So when that rhythm skipped for even a second, it echoed, and unpredictability is powerful behind the public appearances. Both continued focusing on their individual paths: creative growth, personal exploration, subtle reinvention. When artists evolve, dynamics evolve with them. That's natural. But growth doesn't always look synchronized. Sometimes one person speaks from a place of emotion. Sometimes another responds from a place of restraint. That difference alone can create tension. Not hostility, but friction. And friction isn't destruction. It's adjustment. The next time they shared space publicly, the atmosphere felt composed, not overly affectionate, not distant, professional, calm, almost mature in a way that felt intentional. But something else was noticeable. They were more careful, not stiff, just aware. As if they understood how one misplaced word could ignite headlines. That awareness changes how you speak, changes how you react. It makes you choose neutrality over impulse. And neutrality can look cold to an audience that craves warmth. Yet, in between the polished moments, there were flashes of something unchanged. A familiar inside joke that slipped out. A shared glance during a chaotic environment. The kind of micro moment you wouldn't notice unless you were looking for it. The contradiction became the real story. Public calm, private familiarity, speculation outside, silence inside. And then came a subtle shift in narrative. Instead of debating whether there was conflict, fans began asking a different question. What if this was simply two people growing in different directions but still choosing to stand beside each other? Growth isn't symmetrical. One may become more outspoken, the other more reserved. One may express feelings openly, the other may internalize them. That doesn't equal distance. It equals evolution. But evolution feels uncomfortable when the world expects consistency. The pressure of perception is heavy. When millions project expectations onto a relationship, even authenticity becomes complicated. Every smile feels analyzed. Every pause becomes suspicious. Imagine navigating that while also navigating real emotions. What if Taehyung's words weren't a revelation, just a human slip of transparency? What if Jungkook's pause wasn't disagreement, just surprise? Sometimes the simplest explanations are the least dramatic. But drama spreads faster than simplicity. And yet the most interesting detail didn't come from what they said, it came from what they didn't correct. They didn't rush to deny tension. They didn't overcompensate with exaggerated interactions. They didn't stage a visible proof of unity. They simply continued that continuation speaks louder than clarification. Because when something is fragile, people try to prove its strength. When something is stable, it doesn't need performance. Still, there's an undercurrent that keeps fans watching closely. Not fear, not chaos, but anticipation. Relationships, especially ones built under pressure, go through phases. Some are loud, some are quiet, some are transitional. What we witnessed might not have been conflict at all. It might have been transition. And transitions are rarely comfortable. As future projects approach and shared moments inevitably return, the real answer won't be found in statements. It will be found in energy, in consistency, in whether that natural rhythm returns without force, because chemistry cannot be faked long term. You can script words, you can control angles, but you cannot manufacture ease. So the world waits not for confrontation, not for confession, but for clarity through action. Was that live a turning point, a misunderstanding, or simply a reminder that idols are human before they are symbols? One brief pause revealed vulnerability. One sentence sparked global interpretation.